As longtime lovers of bourbon and all types of whiskey, we know how hard it can be to find unique bourbon at traditional retail stores. That's why we're proud to announce our partnership with BourbonOutfitter.com. The good people at Bourbon Outfitter have years of experience and specialize in providing an array of special barrel picks and other whiskeys that you are sure to love. Best of all, everything at BourbonOutfitter.com can be shipped right to your door. So avoid the hassle and head on over to BourbonOutfitter.com today. Enter code THEMASHUP to receive a special discount on your next order. Now sit back, relax, and get ready for the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long.
Heaven Hill 12-year, that was that purple label, 134 proof.
I've never had the pleasure.
Don't say that. We've talked about this before. You've had it multiple times over here.
I don't know.
And welcome everyone to episode 112 of The Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. We're your hosts, Kenny, Anthony, and Steven. Hello, good fellas.
What's up, gentlemen?
Hello, I like your headphones over there.
Thank you.
You're looking really dapper.
Well, you know, I'm a big fan of UK.
Yeah. So
We can tell.
the best thing ever right now, and I'm loving every moment of this, is we're recording on site tonight, and it's not in Steven's basement, so he forgot his headphones, and Kenny had to get him a pair. And you were so kind, sir. What headphones did you get there that match his shirt?
Well, orange and blue, and they are in the SEC like our Wildcats.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Well, I can't see real well. Is that Wildcats?
Gator Chomp.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So you guys know that Steven is a massive UK fan. You're diehard, right? You know, for life.
All three of us
And
are actually wearing UK shirts, though.
That's right.
All three of us Wildcat shirts.
Yeah, we
didn't plan this out.
We're wearing the uniform tonight, and then Kenny goes and finishes out a pair of Florida Gator headphones. So yeah, I'm enjoying this right now. I think I might actually take a picture of you while recording when you're not looking at me, and then post that on the Instagram there.
Uh-oh.
I would do not approve.
Do not approve? Okay. No, I'm just having a little fun. But
Speaking of fun, man.
Yeah.
I had a amazing tasting in time a few weeks ago. It's pretty awesome.
So is this a tasting you hosted, or is this something that you're part of? Or
I was invited to a sipping, tasting, hangout, food get-together by Barry Brinegar.
okay.
You all have experienced, I guess you were familiar with some of the WM Tar and RD1 distilleries brought back.
I've heard of it. Yeah, he has some products here locally made in Lexington.
Stoops is involved, UK, right?
UK.
There you go.
Well, so Freddie Johnson from Buffalo Trace was there.
Oh,
Pretty, and Anthony, I know you're a tater. I know you love Buffalo Trace stuff.
Mr. Freddie.
Mr. Freddie, did he bring his root beer, or did he actually have bourbon there?
Believe it or not, he actually brought a rum and a tequila.
Are you serious?
Interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's something, but he brought something that nobody else had there. It's one of those things. It's kind of like showing up to somebody's house. You're like trying to figure out what are you going to bring. He knows Barry's got tons of bourbon too. So, and other people brought bourbon. So he brought two things that nobody else had. It's pretty cool. But hanging out with him and just was listening to the stories, listening to him talk, man, it was really cool. Really good times.
So how'd the tasting go?
Tasting was great. I brought a lot of good bourbons for everyone to enjoy.
I can't believe that. Not you.
Our boy Mossick was there. Mossick brought a really great old Fitz from the 50s or 60s. Wow. I took some of my normal bangers, Redbreast 27, my Evan Williams 23, 88 CGF, 95 split label.
Oh, come on.
I brought some fire, man. So everyone had a good time. It was good. It was really good. But just hanging out, just listening to him talk, man.
Back up a second. How does this happen? So the listening audience has to know. I mean, Steven and I know we've talked about the aura of Buffalo Trace and the people of Buffalo Trace. And Freddie, I mean, he's probably one of the most recognizable people associated with the brand. Generations of his family have worked there. He's a great brand ambassador. So how does it work out that you're just casually invited to a tasting and Freddie Johnson happens to be there?
Yeah, well, I mean, Freddie and Barry are buddies, so I guess that, and my connection to that was just Barry, Barry came over to the basement a couple months ago, hung out, sipped, shared a lot of good pours with him. You know me, I mean, I share. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And a lot of that, though, stems from Freddie. So, like, everybody, if any of your listeners are listening, I mean, I'm newer into bourbon, been sipping maybe 3 years, but right when I started, listened to the Netflix documentary, the Neat with Freddie. The first time I watched it, I literally watched it 3 times that night. Like I just played on replay 3 times that night.
Nice.
But he was talking about, opening bottles. I think he was talking about his dad. It was some kind of pappy or something they had, and Freddie was going to save it or not, or pour a small amount. And his dad just told him, man, you got to make memories,
Right.
And so that's kind of what changed a lot of my bourbon drinking and tasting was, if I have a great bottle, don't want to take it to my grave with me.
Yeah.
Why hold on to it for a quote unquote special time when, and not to be negative or dark, but I mean, I could literally die on the way to work tomorrow. I mean, so I'm saving it for some event 3 months from now,
Yeah.
So, Freddie was a big role in that. I became friends with Freddie on Facebook, met him at the distillery 2 or 3 times, but not friends by any means, just friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
When my father passed away, man, he actually reached out on Facebook Messenger and messaged me about that. I'm like,
really?
How do you know who I am, bro?
Dang.
That's the kind of person he is.
Yeah.
Just amazing. It was such a great time.
So if you you recalled that part of Neat correctly, so I was very touched by that. Steven, did you watch Neat?
I believe so.
Okay.
How long ago did it come out?
That was a couple years ago. It had
it sounds familiar.
It had like who was it? Steve Zahn that was like the host. Wasn't he like the guy that did like the interludes in it?
I mean, it came out 4 years ago, maybe?
4 years ago.
Something.
But I remember that as a very poignant moment. So here's the thing. I didn't watch Neat until this past summer, I believe, or it was 2 summers ago.
Okay.
And so that exact moment you're talking about, and I think I've talked to you about this. I know I've talked to Steven about it. I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this, Kenny, but I watched Neat. I remember that segment like it was yesterday. I think it was something about, just like you said, Freddie was talking about keeping his bottle pappy. He said something like he got to drink it with his dad and his brother, and both of them had passed pretty close in succession to one another, and he was talking about how you make the memories with the bottle. It touched such a nerve with me that I was lucky enough to get a CYPB at retail, and that was when family was coming into town, and I opened it immediately and shared it with my brothers and my dad.
Yeah.
And I know that CYPB is no pappy, but I mean, again, what's the value of the whiskey if you can't share it with people? And so I know you and I have talked a lot about that. Stephen, we've shared pours, and Kenny, you've been really generous with sharing pours with me over time, and I know you've shared some now with Stephen in the last couple of weeks. And so it's just, man, talk about an influence that a guy can have on a bunch of whiskey drinkers just from one small segment. That segment hit me the same way it hit you, and now I'm jealous that you got to go drink with the guy.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was really cool.
What they say about making memories with bottles, I mean, I've held on to a couple bottles just for, like you said, that special occasion. And I still look at the bottles and think about them, but you're right, you could die on the way to work tomorrow.
And to be dark, man. Yeah, you could.
And you might as well live with them now while you can enjoy them with others.
Exactly. And so that's some good advice, open and share, right?
Mm-hmm. And then as big as Freddie is, I mean, he's the face of Buffalo Trace, in my opinion. I mean, that's if you think about it, anybody who sets up a tour, they're always hoping he's the tour guide and everything.
Right.
So at the end of the night, he gets a bottle and has all of us that are there with him sign the bottle.
So I'm not sure if we missed this shout out a couple weeks ago, but we noticed we had one on Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely. So this shout out on Facebook came to us from Ken Arthur Millicent. He says, "I'm so glad I found this podcast. That Kenny guy seems very knowledgeable in his." Are you kidding me? I started reading this thinking this was something, this can't be serious.
It sounds serious to me.
It sounds serious, but okay.
I think that person knows what they're talking about.
I think they might if they're saying that you're funny.
I think they have a good taste in
you guys,
a good judge of people.
You guys are ridiculous. Well, thank you for playing that joke on me. And
if you would like a shout out, just leave us one on Apple Podcasts or Facebook, and next time I record, we'll give you a shout out.
Damn right.
Gentlemen, for this week, we have a brand I've actually never tried. We have a bottle of Parker's Heritage Double Barrel Blend.
Oh, yeah. So this Parker's Heritage Double Barrel Blend comes to us from the Heaven Hill Distillery. The bottle date is 2022. The ABV is 66.1. Proof is 132.2. And so the age on this one is actually a blend of two different age whiskeys. 67% of the blend is 13-year, 33% is 15-year, and then they rebarreled these whiskeys together for 4 weeks in New American Oak. The mash bill is the standard Heaven Hill mash bill, 78% corn, 10% rye, and 12% malted barley, and the MSRP is a large, staggering $175. Nice.
Wow.
Much less than what I paid for it.
Oh, that's right. Because even before we talk about a little bit about this bottle, the secondary prices can soar as high as $500 to $600.
Jeez.
Yeah, $550 is about the average. Yeah.
About average, dang.
So even though I've never had this product, this is definitely a unique bottle. Because
Yeah.
I think when I see this bottle, the only thing I think of is Parker's. So the bottle is kind of like a tapered cylinder. It's really it's a really different shape than others.
It's not oval, but tapered. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, is there any other bottles that look like that?
No, not with a fat bottom that it has.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen some that one I think is just very unique looking.
It looks like a fatter Michter's tin, right? Like a Michter's tin bottle, how it flares out.
Maybe.
But
I think
this
so.
this is not as wide as a flare.
I'm almost kind of thinking too about, I don't know, is Bull Run? Do you know the Bull Run? Does it look like that?
The standard bull runs are no, but there's that one bull run that actually you're 100% right. There's one bull run I have that's actually Jim Beam juice that they used for that.
So like a special release,
bull run bottle that they also use that. That's right, dude.
Yeah, and I think
Good
it was
eye.
the only
Good
reason
eye.
I remembered that is because I think I got one of those from maybe Sealbox or somewhere.
Yep, that's who had it.
And so that's the only thing I've ever seen it looks like that. But what do you think about the colors of the label? I think they change that every year, right? Don't they change the color of the label every year?
The printed label or the kind of embossed label on the
No,
bottom?
I think the printed label. I think the embossing is always gold, isn't it? And maybe not.
Yeah, and I think it's always gold. And I had the heavy char in 2020. I think it was blue.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if there's a rhyme or reason to
So the different
color
colors.
or it's just
identify the
once a year
bottle.
they pick something out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have to say this color on the actual liquid is really nice.
Oh yeah, the contrast and the way it shows the liquid off, and there's a lot of good information. And
It's
I would
dark.
call, yeah, it's dark, and it's just this really nice eye-catching bottle for a premium release. It does, for all the lambasting I've done of Heaven Hill in their labeling. I actually really think that from the neck tag and everything, it's just a really nice looking bottle.
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere that this is the 16th edition, so the 16th release
Wow.
of Parker's Heritage. And so if you're counting backwards, can you guys do the quick math? When would the first release have been? I'm terrible with maths.
It'd have been 16 years ago.
07?
07? Okay. And so I think that is when Parker Beam was still alive. I think Parker Beam passed away in 2017, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And this bottle, so while he had a hand in the making of this bottle, the being released, but also to raise money for the ALS Foundation of Kentucky, the chapter in Kentucky. So for those of you who don't know, Parker Beam, the longtime master distiller of Heaven Hill, sadly passed away in 2017 from ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease, right? That's a degenerative disease that affects the nerves, spine. So like it's degenerative, so it can go quickly, or most of the time it goes quickly. But for somebody like obviously none of us sitting here knew Parker Beam, knew much about him past what we read. But when you watch other people that talk about him, they talk about the legacy and how much he meant to bourbon, like being one of the original master distillers that brought bourbon back. And so his loss was tremendous, but this is kind of his legacy that lives on through this bottle.
Yeah, have you gone on many tours at Heaven Hill?
I actually have not. Have you, Stephen?
One a long time ago.
Okay. Well, that's better than I've done. I don't know that I've ever been on a tour besides going to the gift shop, which is terrible.
That's because you're a tater. You just chase the bottle.
Taters chase the
up.
bottle, not going.
What do you have that's allocated? Give me,
how come you guys don't have any allocated whiskeys out? My buddy Steven and I want some Don't you want some allocated whiskey, Steven?
You probably went there asking for Blanton's.
I did. Yeah. Hey, you guys got any Blantons in there? This is the wrong distillery. I don't think so. Let me in.
No, so actually, I've done a few tours down there, and the tour guides all actually talk about Parker like huge, like they all loved him so much, and they would talk about too though about Parker would know where the honey barrels were. You know, obviously just being, and he would taste through so many of them, and you know, a lot of those, they would be like half full barrels. You know, like, why are they half full? Well, Parker knew what Parker wanted, and he would go, you know, pull some, and he would thieve from the barrel, and that'd be what he drank. But yeah, so a lot of the Parkers too, what they were talking about is just also something definitely more premium, just because they were trying to also give, you know, where he really knew what the good stuff was and where it was in the honey barrel. So
that kind of is a good story about the cause they have for this bottle that, you know, you're spending a lot of money on, but at least, you know, some of it's going to a cause. Are there any of the bottles that are kind of similar to this?
I'm trying to think, does anybody have a regular release charity bottle like that where, when I say regular release, this is a yearly allocated, but it's regular enough, 16 editions that, and they're always donating. While we're thinking about that, I do want to tell you that the first year they did this, apparently, Parker didn't think it was going to raise much money for the Kentucky chapter of the ALS Association. He said maybe we get $5 to $10 per bottle. And then when it was all said and done, after the sales came through for the first round of this, they were able to make a $400,000 donation.
That's nice.
Wow,
so
that's awesome.
That's crazy. And so, you know, of course, he was impressed, and the rest is history there. I mean, obviously, it'd be better to have him around and not have ALS, but you know, the fact that he's able to create that legacy is pretty amazing. But I'm trying to rack my brain now if there's a charity bottle.
Other than like one-offs, but like a regular release like that, Stephen, I don't think, not that I know of.
And that's interesting to know. Do they give a percentage of the bottle price to ALS, or just a fixed number? As the price of the bottle, I'm sure, has increased over the years.
Yeah, I don't know. I would assume that they probably, I mean, the Heaven Hill prominently displays this on their website. They talk about it.
Okay.
They talk about their commitment to the community. So I'm sure that whatever they're doing, it's probably pretty consistent. And if not more, probably than that, than less. Maybe, you know, if I was told, hey, Parker's Heritage is going to go up $25 next year because we want to make more of a donation to ALS. Okay, cool. If I can find it for retail, count me in, right? Yeah.
Well, fellas, should we go for our first nose?
Okay. I always like to lead with this because I think it's really important for people to know. I've spoke in previous episodes about premium nosing, premium tasting. It jumps right out of the glass to you when I say premium. We're talking about like a really well-seasoned, nice, deep, rich oak.
Oh, all the way.
And you don't get that on most bourbons. So this is like, you know, normally I'm not talking about oak on the nose. I'm talking about the oak on this nose because it's just...
It's a joy to sniff.
Out of this world.
Something this podcast won't show is the legs on this thing. This is so oily and viscous. It is amazing.
We do talk about legs, but you have to describe them. So oily and viscous. I mean, I'm guessing with 13 and 15 aged an extra 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. Grippy.
There's definitely some barrel proof stuff in it.
Yeah.
If it's not barrel proof, it's close.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean,
they actually don't say barrel proof on it. So I'm sure they proof it down a little bit, but man, you can tell it's got a backbone to it.
Now, what other things are you guys...
I don't find it, though, like, doesn't really burn the nose at all, though.
It isn't that young ethanol pop that's like, ugh, at all. But you can tell it's going to be...
Yeah, but that oak is so enjoyable.
I was going to say, you picking anything else out? I'm also detecting, and I'm not sure until I taste it, but I get a little bit maybe of a tobacco and a little cherry. Those things seem present to me as well. Maybe that's just the oak and the char that I'm getting, but it's I mean, put it next to anything that you're going to try that's you think is the best bourbon that maybe you've nosed. This has got to be up there with them. I mean, it's just got a really pleasant nose.
Yeah, I don't know. I might be getting like a little black licorice or anise or something maybe as well.
Okay.
Did you say tobacco or leather?
I said tobacco, but I get my tobacco.
Dry tobacco leaf? Is that what you're getting?
No, I was just going to say like maybe a pipe tobacco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which if you're getting leather, I can see like a leather, like if I've gone like to some of those leather like belt stores and
in the air,
boot store, kind of the air of that. Yeah, I can see that.
It's so funny over the years. I really never really liked the nose, I guess, of tobacco, of cigar. But ever since that cigar rye we had, I've like really enjoyed it.
Oh man, that was delicious. That was a Liquor Barn pick too, wasn't it?
Well, it was.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a Buzzard's Roost cigar rye. which was killer. So while we're nosing this, though, the most direct question I have related to Parker's Heritage is, I don't know, have either of you guys tasted anything else in this series? So I don't know the old Parker's Heritage stuff. The stuff I know is more recent, right? So I remember they did a heavy char rye, a heavy char bourbon. They did a wheat whiskey that was aged well. I remember having the bourbon that was aged in the orange curacao barrels. So of those Parker's releases, I mean, this is probably the first thing I'm tasting since I tasted the orange curacao. I think I might have another one at home, and I can't remember which one it is. But you don't get your hands on these very often. I mean, they're not like, these are hard to come by. I mean, they're getting a little bit easier because you can go up to the Heaven Hill Distillery, and they sometimes have them released there at random times, but they're not an easy get at retail.
And not at all. I mean, most people I know, unfortunately, have to pay secondary for them.
Yeah.
But I had the Parker's 24, that really old one.
So when was that released? Like, I don't even remember that even being released. 24 years?
I don't know. I have to look it up and see when it was released. But
what'd you think about it?
That was, talk about dusty. That was dusty.
Wow.
But it was, I liked it. I've had it twice now, and I mean, I like it. I wouldn't seek out a bottle.
Okay.
After tasting it, but it was good still.
You're more of a try.
Definitely just a try on that.
It's a try on the 24 year.
Yeah.
Something I'll never see.
Yeah. Well, let's go for a first taste.
All right. I was hoping that you would say that because I really do want to taste this.
There's a lot going on.
So, wow. I will say this to lead us off, gentlemen. Dark fruits, bro. Some dark fruits, man.
Shout out Amin.
Shout out.
Dark fruits.
Dark fruits.
Man, there's a lot going on in there.
Yeah.
Definitely hit you with the hug right up the front.
Oh, man.
It lights your mouth up. Not in a bad way. Just, you're having, 130 proof level at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it definitely, you taste the proof. But not in a bad way, like you said, because when you taste high proof that's not this well aged and not this well put together, a lot of times it lights you up in a way that like feels like it burns your mouth. This like coats your mouth with flavor.
Man, what is so wild on this? So it's 13 and 15 year blend, 132 proof. Think about a lot of the Elijah Craig barrel proof batches are, they were age stated 12 year, but they had some older juice in them.
Right.
But totally different profile, like totally different.
Right.
I don't get the peanutty. I don't get that corn husk at all.
Yeah.
This is just deep, dark fruits, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's got like a really nice, well-aged...
it's doing this thing I like with really hot Thai food where it kind of sets my lip on fire. In a good way.
Okay.
It's different, tasting element of it, but...
Yeah. And it's funny, at the finish of this, I'm getting like... So I mentioned pipe tobacco earlier. Mm-hmm. I'm getting like a pop of like so this is going to sound weird, like cigar ash. And when I say cigar ash, I'm not saying like you eat cigar ash, but I'm just saying like the smell of a nice cigar, but the ash that's left there sort of like, I don't know, the signifying that robustness of the char.
That was probably where the 13 year was rebarreled in a new char 4 barrel. And so it picked up more of that.
Yeah,
second char of that other barrel.
I'm surprised. It's almost, that's what I'm saying. It's a borderline smoky a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit of smoke at the end, which is, it's welcome to me. It tastes great.
I taste purple, man. So I know it's weird to say that. I don't know if it's because the label's purple or what, but this is reminiscent to me of the William Heaven Hill 12 year that was that purple label, 134 proof.
I've never had the pleasure.
Don't say that. We've talked about this before. You've had it multiple times over here.
No, wait a minute. I don't think I've ever had 134.
Right, I'll let y'all pick on this one, but I know most people have had it over here before.
Well, I'm just saying I know I've given you that before, but I don't think I've ever had that.
So very reminiscent of that to me.
Okay. And when you say it's purple, maybe purple's intense, and this is intense. Right?
Black licorice anise to me, I get that. Like you said, tobacco. Not whether sure it's cigar ash or what, but definitely some tobacco there. Steven, what do you think, man?
Surprisingly, tonight I'm having a problem getting past the proof.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I super enjoyed the nosing.
Yeah.
For some reason, it's hard getting past the proof in my mouth.
Is it drawing you up, like making you feel like it's a drying proofy thing, or what's happening?
Are you saying it's like a dry or semi-dry drink?
Yeah.
Or is it just proofier than what you want?
I mean, I'm fine drinking it. It's just like I think the proof is just overpowering any sort of flavor notes I'm getting from it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, one thing too, and we talked about this before in one of our barrel proof releases. And I mean, I drank whiskey for a year and a half, and didn't know this is how to get rid of that ethanol. And so, definitely, and I think one of your listeners said that they heard me talking about that a couple episodes ago, and really helped them out.
Yeah.
When you go to drink this kind of barrel proof whiskey, the big thing is to go ahead and inhale first, so you have some air in your lungs. Then once we inhale, we're going to drink, swish, swish, swallow. And once you swallow, you immediately just exhale through your mouth. All the ethanol is gone. Then you're left with nothing but flavor. So try that. Try that as well, bro.
There you go.
So the big thing, but you can't just drink with nothing in your lungs, because then you have nothing to exhale. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to inhale on purpose. Now I'm left with nothing but flavor. So inhale air first, drink, swish, swish, swallow, exhale, all the ethanol goes away, then just flavors left on the tongue.
Hey, do you do any classes down at the local community
Drink,
college?
exhale, boom.
I feel like I got hotter.
Oh,
Really?
He's fire breathing dragon over there now. No,
Because when I do that,
maybe I did it wrong.
all that ethanol is just blown out.
Yeah, it's like getting in my lower front of my mouth.
Uh-oh.
It's like on fire now.
But you did swish, swish, though. You usually don't really swish, swish, so now you're just coating your mouth with that. So maybe drink your same way you usually drink, but don't swish, swish, but just make sure exhale after the fact now.
What I will say is I'm not going to totally – you have something I feel like that you've identified with this that actually makes some sense. So it has a long finish, but that long finish, instead of one note, in my opinion, staying with you, it is a warming, long, heat-filled finish. And it's not – to me, it's not bad, but if you're not – we've said it before. We don't – in our podcast, we don't drink a ton of barrel proof, right? We might taste at different times, but we don't drink a ton of barrel proof. So, it's important to remind people that barrel proof, whatever it is a different animal, right? Yeah, it is. It's just a different animal. So it's like go drink regular Buffalo Trace and then be like, oh, I'm going to switch over to Stag Junior without any experience of tasting Stag Junior. You're gonna be a little bit, palate's going to be shocked by a little bit. So maybe you experience a little bit of that. But I definitely think it's a warming, long finish that's probably what's overwhelming you.
It's definitely numbing. It's that clove. It's the numbing spices on the tongue and on the lips for sure.
What else? Maybe a little nutmeg I'm getting in there. And it's got some spice. It's got a good spice profile, like spice backbone, in addition to the fruit and the tobacco and oak and nice stuff going on there.
So, gentlemen, would you pass, try, or buy on the Parker's Heritage double-barreled blend?
I would actually like to go first on this one, if you guys don't mind. So, here's the way I feel about this this whiskey. I think that it's probably, I've heard some people say that this is the best whiskey of 2022. I get why they would say that, because for a retail release that you could potentially get, I mean, it's a bear. It's a big whiskey, a lot of complexity, something you're going to have to take your time with, kind of knocks your socks off. I really like it. Big, bold, a lot of great flavors that I really enjoy, the oak, the cherry, the tobacco. And so I'm going to be a buy.
Well, it had it definitely in the nosing for me. Okay. I really enjoyed sniffing this, and you know me, I like to sniff the bourbon.
Steve in the nose.
Yep. Tasting was not hot. It was just big.
Yeah.
And it kind of overpowered the notes for it. So I'm going to be a try.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, on this year, this finished in our top 5 or 6. It was behind the Michter's 20. It was behind the Coy Hill 155.1 small batch. So, I mean, it was behind a $4,000 bottle, a $2,000 bottle.
150 proof?
155.1, man.
Jeez.
But
I was not worthy. I was not worthy at all for that one.
We had the rare character obliteration. That's a $5,000-$6,000 bottle as well. And, King Kentucky was in there. That's a $1,500 bottle.
That's a lot.
$1,300 bottle.
We reviewed King on the podcast.
Yeah. So this last year for us, this actually got my, I think, highest or second highest score in our blinds last year. And overall for the group with 6 of us, I think it finished 5th maybe. So for
think it was
me,
5th or 6th, yeah.
it was the best release for the money of 2022 when you're comparing it at $500 secondary compared to the other bottles at $2,000 or $1,500 to $5,000. But definitely, as Stephen was saying, I mean, if you are not accustomed to barrel proof, this can be a little hot, because I do love when you have like 120 proof bourbon that drinks like it's 100,
Yeah.
or if you have 130 proof bourbon that drinks like it's 110.
Yeah.
This is a 132 that drinks like a freaking 132. So this is not for the meek of. I mean, this. So
Yeah.
I 100% agree with Steven. And I just took some limestone water and put a few drops in mine, and it definitely mellowed it out a little bit. Steven, that's what I gave you a sample of a second ago. Was that same pour just with a few limestone water drops? I don't know if it changed much for you or
it didn't
not.
change much.
Okay.
But it wasn't much in there, so I don't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's but I would definitely, if you're not a barrel proof person, I would still recommend. I'm a buy, but I would still maybe try it. If you tried it at a bar, put a little ice cube in it, put a little water if you're not a barrel proof guy, because it's still just packed full of flavor. Full flavor.
Oh, I believe it's there. I just drinking it neat. It was
I like the flavors, but it definitely drinks its proof.
Well, that was an important thing you mentioned when we were talking about the past try and buy. A lot of times we do talk about secondary, and I will say that $5.50, even though it's still a bargain compared to what some of the things that we tasted, were you happy to pay $5.50 if you're a buy, or are you saying, like, sometimes we say, well, retail's $175, but we're not going to find it at that. Even if we find a store, it's going to be $200. Is $5.50 an appropriate price for it? Do you think that, if you could buy 30 of them, what price would you buy 30 of them at?
Well, I mean, for me, I'm just being honest right now with you. I mean, I paid right around $500 for most of mine.
Okay.
And I have several.
Okay.
So I was even a buy at the $500 pricing point, because it's just, to me, it's just a big flavor punch. But I drink a lot of barrel proof. I drink so much barrel proof.
Yeah.
So to me, I mean, definitely, it's not a 132 that drinks like a 115. It's a 132 that drinks like a 132 to 140. But I just love the flavor profile of it.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a unique one. I think it was an episode a while back where we tasted the Heaven Hill's new Elijah Craig, the new 11.5-year barrel proof. Yeah. That I really liked.
The B523.
Yeah. And I thought in a lot of ways the characteristics of that are like a lot more muted version of what we're tasting now. So I don't know what Heaven Hill's doing with their barrel lots, but I think they're playing around with the similar barrels that got a really nice flavor profile. So that'd be really good.
Yeah, Stephen, I've got a 140 proofer, or 141 proofer, that you would think is probably 115.
Oh, line it up for him.
But I'm saying, but I totally agree with you. This is not that. This is a 132 that drinks like a 132 to 140.
Yeah. And with that, thanks for listening to this week's edition. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY. Also, let us know your thoughts and follow in the comment section. Until next time, keep it easy.